everyone, it's Holly. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I do a lot of homeschooling, motherhood, cooking, and travel videos. And today I am talking homeschooling. It is that time of year when I start preparing for the school year. Yes, I usually start preparing the middle of July. And I know that there are a lot of homeschooling families that start planning for the next school year a lot earlier than I do. A lot of homeschooling parents will have already figured out their curriculum, books, schedule back in the spring. Well, that doesn't work for me because usually in the spring, the end of our school year, we're usually just so busy with the school year, all our activities, and with finishing up the school year, I am just not in the mindset to start thinking about the next school year. No, usually by that time, I am ready for my break. We're all ready for a break from school. So when we wrap up our school year, normally I try to finish up by the first week in May. I take at least 2 months off of school. 2 months off of planning, thinking, ordering, doing anything school related. I always need a good break. And then come mid-July, usually after 4th of July is over and everything, then I'm ready to go again. I am ready to do everything I need to do to prepare for the upcoming school year. And I know that might not seem like a lot of time to start planning and preparing. Well, I have been homeschooling for quite some time now, so I've gotten in a good routine for doing it this way. And plus, I already know all the books really that I want to order. We have stuck with very similar curriculum over the years, so I just continue getting the next grade for whatever grade my kids are going into. For me, it's not super complicated, and I totally understand why a lot of other parents are doing this a lot earlier than I am. Anyways, in today's video, I want to share with you just what I do to get ready for the school year and what this time really looks like for us as I prep and prepare for it. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be sharing about what we use exactly for curriculum. If you are interested in curriculum videos, I updated all my curriculum videos last year and we haven't changed any of it really. It is very up to date, even though it's a year old. If you want to go and check out any of my curriculum videos, I have a video for grades kindergarten through 6th grade, one video for each grade. I have an entire playlist. The playlist will be in the description box below if you want to go check out after this video. You don't have to watch the entire playlist. If you are only looking for 1 or 2 different grades, you could just go and pick those videos to watch. But like I said, they're very up to date because we still use all those same books and stuff. And I also talk about that I don't stick with one particular curriculum. I put together my own curriculum. So for instance, my math is not going to be the same company as the history curriculum we use. Yes, I do a lot of a la carte when it comes to picking the companies I go with for our books and subjects, things like that. Right now, I do want to share with you the steps that I take this time of year to get ready for the school year. The first one is registering my kids as homeschoolers. Every state is different. We live in Colorado, and in our state, the requirements for homeschooling is you need to register. Some states don't even require registering, but here in Colorado, they do require that you register your child or children if you are going to homeschool them. There are a few different options you can go through. You can do it independently on your own, as I know a lot of homeschooling parents do, or you can go through an umbrella school. And that is what we do. We register our kids through Christian Home Educators of Colorado, and there is a fee to go through them, but I think it is worth it because not only do they keep all the records on file, but they also let me know everything that I need to fill out and churn in. And yes, I do pay a fee. It's not a whole lot, but it is worth it for me just to know exactly what I need to be doing and turn in everything that the state requires. Getting the kids registered is step one. It's not super hard to do. It just takes time. It just takes that time for me to sit down at my computer and fill out what I need to fill out. But once it's done for the year and I don't have to worry about it until next summer. All right, step 2 is figuring out the books, figuring out what exactly I need to order. And again, I keep the curriculum very much the same. We will not be changing anything from last year. It's going to be all the same things. The only thing I'm going to be doing different is my oldest is going into 7th grade. We've never done 7th grade before, but we are sticking with all the same type of books. So I will just go up one level for her with ordering books, but all the other kids, again, they're just going to be getting the books for whatever grade they are in. Ordering books should be pretty easy to do. I just got to take the time to sit down and do it. And I do have a whole spreadsheet laid out where I have all the books that we need and check them off. If I've already purchased them, maybe I purchased them last year, if they were on sale. Sometimes I will do that randomly throughout the year if I find a good price on something I know I'm going to use eventually. I got step 1, registering. Step 2, ordering the books. Step 3 is really just going out and doing all the shopping. Shopping for school supplies, just going through our school cabinet and really seeing what we need more of. Maybe more pencils, paper. I always like to get my kids some fresh markers and colored pencils for different stuff we do with our school. We keep everything in a cabinet in our dining room. And a couple of years ago, I did a video on how we organize all our school supplies and books. We don't have a dedicated homeschool room, but this I find is a perfect solution if you are homeschooling and you have a small space to work with. Please go check out that video. I will have a link for it in the description box below of how I organize all our school stuff, put everything away at the end of the day. So I've registered, I figured out books, and I've gone shopping for all the school supplies we need. What next? Next is really just putting together what this school year is going to look like. Now, maybe that should be the first step. Honestly, we have kept the same school schedule for a couple of years now. I've really been happy with how we structure our morning. I find that it really works out in the end. I don't think I would do it any differently. And right now I want to share with you in a whole spreadsheet I made of how we do our school week, Monday through Friday, just how I break up the hours and work in everything that we do. We also do a homeschool enrichment program 2 days a week. Again, I will show you in this spreadsheet how I work it into the other stuff that we need to do here at home. I really hope this visual is helpful and gives you an idea if you are starting off homeschooling for the first time and you want to see how other families structure their day with homeschooling, or say you've been homeschooling for years and you need to figure out a different schedule as well. If you want to see a day in the life of what our typical school day looks like, I did a video on that, which I will also have in the description box below. That one is a few years old, but again, we have kept this school schedule very much the same. And also, just this last spring, I did a video sharing our week in the life of our homeschool schedule. And you can get a better idea of how we move about the day and get everything done. Check out the rest of this video, see how I lay it all out in this spreadsheet. And then if you want to go and watch the whole week in the life of our homeschool schedule, I will have that video as well in the description box below. Let me get into it right now and share with you our homeschool schedule for 2023 and 2024. This right here is what our homeschool week looks like, how I break it down, and how we fit everything in. So you can see I got Monday through Friday here, and I'll go through each day starting with Monday. And Monday, you can see that we typically start at 7:30. My kids are supposed to be up by 7:15, and then at 7:30 is when I want at least the 3 oldest to work on their math, and the type of math curriculum we use they can do on their own. This first hour of the morning is supposed to be independent work, and we always want them to be doing math first because it just is best to get it done and out of the way. They sometimes can get it all done in an hour, but I think majority of the time they still have some more to do, even lingering in the morning. I'll get to that in a minute. And then at 8:30, that is when everyone is supposed to be dressed, and we do devotions and breakfast. Devotions first, where I sit down with all four of my kids and we have a devotion book that we go through. We've gone through several different ones before. Each of my kids, or the older ones at least, take turns reading that devotion, and then we say a prayer together and then move on to breakfast. I really like breakfast to be done by 9. It doesn't always happen, but for the most part at 9 o'clock is when I start working one-on-one with all the kids. And so this whole section here, this is the hours that I will spend working with the kids, and I just have to rotate working one-on-one with each of them. Because I have 4 kids, it does take a while for me to spend that individual time with each of them, but I found that this block of time does work best to get everything done. And all this stuff in this list here, I only need to do a few things with them one-on-one, especially reading comprehension that we do 5 days a week. A few of the other subjects, though, they can do independently. So when I'm working with one child, the rest of them will go either finish math or do their typing. For the younger one, handwriting. They could usually do their vocabulary and geography books on their own. And I will also correct math during this time, and then they will have to fix any math that they got wrong. We usually finish up all this stuff before 11:30 a.m. Then we get into our hour of history. And I do our history curriculum with my older 3 only, and it usually takes us an hour to get through the lesson we are doing. Usually 11:30 to 12:30 is just the right amount of time to get it done. Once we finish up history, we move on to our lunch break, and I give my kids a good hour to do lunch. After lunch is over and cleaned up, they're pretty much done. At least the younger ones are done with their schoolwork, and they can have a break afterwards. However, in the afternoons, usually around 2 o'clock, my 2 older ones have to do their IEW. That's Institute for Excellence in Writing, and that is our writing curriculum. Right now, the 2 older ones do it. If I have them start working roughly around 2 o'clock, it will take them about an hour to do. They watch a video, they work on writing assignments. Then in the afternoons, my 3 older ones are to practice their instruments. 2 of them do piano and 1 does violin. Usually about 3 o'clock is when I like them to start working on that. And you can see the rest of the afternoon this fall with our schedule. We have nothing going on, so they have that whole afternoon to relax, enjoy their afternoon, maybe do some reading. Around 6 o'clock is when we have dinner. It's not always 6 o'clock, but I shoot for it. I put on here an hour for dinner and cleanup. Then after dinner in the evenings during the school year, we do evening school. And I like to get it started if we can around 7. And the reason we do evening school is because my husband does help with the homeschooling. It is a very unique thing. I know not a lot of dads do help with the teaching. I am very blessed to have my husband want to be involved with the teaching. And of course, the evenings is his only time to work with the kids. So right now for the evening school, he is continuing to work on phonics with our youngest. He started it with her last year in kindergarten, but he needs to wrap up the phonics curriculum with her this year in first grade. He also does math flashcards with all the kids, always helping them stay sharp with their basic math problems. And then he works with the older 2 on IEW Fix-It grammar, as well as correcting their papers when it comes to the writing portion of it. And then there is our Awana work. Now, Awanas is a Christian boys and girls club that our kids are involved with through a local church. In Awanas, they each go through a book each year where they memorize scripture and do a lot of Bible lessons. So I take on working with all my kids with their Awana work and help them get through it. Right now, though, my 2 oldest can do it on their own. It varies if they do need my help. And last, when it comes to the day, is going to be read alouds. This is typically something I do with the 2 younger kids, where I read out loud to them different books. And right now I'm focusing on a lot of classic literature. It's a great time to do it in the evening, such as when they get ready for bed, they're in their PJs. It's a good way to wind down the day by doing some read alouds. I also have them read out loud to me if we have time. But that is what our Monday looks like. Taking a look at Tuesday, it starts off the same with working on math independently in the morning, our devotions and breakfast. breakfast and then the block of time where I work one-on-one with the kids and they do some work on their own as well. But it's not as much work because Tuesdays and Thursdays, which I'll get into in a minute, has our homeschool enrichment program. We have to be done earlier in the morning. With that, we start our lunch at 11 o'clock and we have a pretty quick lunch. You can see I only have a half an hour lunch block here. Then by 11:30, we need to be in the car and on our way to our Science and Spanish homeschool enrichment program. And you can see that it does take a good chunk of the morning or early afternoon there. It is a 3-hour program. They are done at 3 o'clock. That is why I don't do a lot of other schoolwork at home because they are doing other things on that day. Once we get home though, about 3:15 usually, I let them have a break. And then after an hour, I want them to go and practice their instruments. The dinner hour remains the same on Tuesday, as well as our evening school. Wednesday is going to be exactly the same as Monday as far as our morning goes. You can see it all matches up here. And the only thing different on Wednesdays is in the early evening, we have piano lessons. At 5 o'clock, our piano teacher comes and teaches 2 of the kids lessons. They're half an hour lessons each. And because of the piano lessons, I do start dinner later, which gives us less time in the evening as well for our evening school. That is why we try and get the Awanas done on Mondays and Tuesdays. Thursdays are going to be pretty similar to Tuesdays, as I mentioned, with the homeschool enrichment program. So same up until it's time to go. And then in the afternoons, the only thing different is at 3:30, we have a violin lesson. Again, the instructor comes to our home and it is a half an hour lesson. After that lesson, I have them practice their instruments. And this fall, my son will be doing flag football. His practices are 5 to 6 on Thursdays. So that is why I have it in here. And that is why dinner is getting moved till later again to fit everything in. Next, going to Fridays. Fridays starts off the same with our math, devotions, and of course our 5-day-a-week reading comprehension. But Fridays are going to be lighter days. Fridays will be the day that we can have if we need to catch up on anything, or we'll just finish early that day. And Fridays are going to be our house cleaning days and the days that the kids need to do certain chores. So if we do finish up early, a lot of times we get going with the house cleaning, get the chores done early, but sometimes we're still doing chores in the early afternoon. But you can see the rest of the day is pretty wide open. And in the evening, we do not do any evening school. We take that night off and try and do something fun as a family, maybe watch a movie, have friends over, go out somewhere, go to friend's house, whatever. That is the start of our weekend, and that is the night we completely take off our evening school. Well, that is our homeschool schedule and pretty accurate to a typical week for us. Anyhow, I hope that was helpful. And again, I really wanted to put it out there to share with other homeschooling families how we structure our day, how we fit everything in. I mentioned before I have 4 kids, so that is a homeschool schedule for teaching multiple kids. And you know, if you have less than 4 kids, then I would think it would be even easier to try and fit in everything in one morning. Probably finish up your schoolwork even earlier. I definitely hope that this video was helpful. If you are new to homeschooling, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions that I'm able to. If you enjoyed this video or got anything out of it, please hit the like button. And consider subscribing if you haven't already. I have more homeschool videos on the way, and I'm really hoping that I can be an encouragement to any homeschooling parents out there. Thank you so much for watching, and may you have a beautiful day.